So one of the greatest Pokemon discussions I've ever had happened at SoccerCon, and it was with my good friend Ryan. We've been friends for, oh my goodness, I think it's been over 4 years now, just talking about Pokemon and coming up with some of the most ridiculous theory crafting, and like really just how I understand the game is a large part because of Ryan. Now also friends like Berto and friends like Esteban, who I don't really talk about too much because he isn't into Pokemon anymore. Anyway, like I have these deep understandings of Pokemon, and what happened was this battle, not serious in any way. This was a fun scrim where he ended up trolling me, but inside of this trolling, we came up with one of the greatest understandings that could be made in Pokemon. So Will-O-Wisp misses, you know, because SoccerCon has a veil of anti-luck around it that prevents me from succeeding, apparently, or something like that. And then he brings out his Ditto named 12. So, random names. Trainer named Floor, Ditto named 12. Just names all over the place. That's not what this is about. This is about how Ditto works as the ultimate anti-stall Pokemon. So against Pokemon that have sustain setup going on for it, like Sableye for example, I have Calm Mind, I have Recover. Any Pokemon that's going to play like that, a non-unaware Clefable. So if you have a Magic Guard Clefable that's going for like Moonlights, or even if it has like Soft Boiled or something like that, and it's going for Calm Minds into Sweeping, Ditto is actually the ultimate counter for it. Now, whenever I talked about Ditto, I was thinking its best quality is to be a sweeper kind of Pokemon. That what you want to do is just come in with a Scarf, always win that speed tie. If they have any kind of Dragon Dance or stat boost, you just steal those, and you effectively have a stronger version of their MVP. You come in on, say, if they have a Salamence, a Mega Salamence that's setting up. You come in with their strongest Pokemon, and then you win with it kind of idea. You take their Mega, you take their most valuable Pokemon, and they turn it into something. Now, he plays Ditto differently, and inside of this, we discovered the silliness. So Scarf, you know, you're not going to be able to trade with stall kind of Pokemon. He runs a Focus Sash. Now, the idea behind the Focus Sash is that what he is going to do, yeah, and he switches in, so I get burned. Like, we're both burned. So here's how this battle ends up playing out. We're both burned. We're both now at even stats, because Ditto comes in, Imposter is going to take all of these Calm Minds, and he's going for Snarl, because he knows what happens when in the Sableye matchup. That he can Snarl me down infinitely, and then if I Calm Mind, I'm only gaining special defense, I'm not gaining any offenses, and then by the time I Calm Mind a couple turns later, he can come in, take that, and Snarl me back down. And this is when we started realizing how scary the Ditto is. So he runs Focus Sash. Ideally, what he wants to do is come in on their Mega, on their other Pokemon, use a super effective hit against them, and then just kind of bank on that speed tie. If you lose the speed tie, you have a Focus Sash, so you have an item advantage over them that is going to cause Ditto to win out. And if you win the speed tie, now you just massively snowball the game and win. But against stall Pokemon, something unexpected happened, in that whenever Ditto switches out and comes back in on the Imposter, it resets the amount of PP the moves have. So when Ditto comes in, it only has 5 PP on all the moves, so it can only stay in for a couple of turns. However, if you keep this Pokemon in and you have a nasty enough team, like he doesn't have a stall team to abuse this, because we were just goofing around, but if you had a stall team to abuse this, in a way, you know, you go into Regenerator Pokemon, so the Regenerator takes damage from the Pokemon that's setting up, or something that tanks it out just right, even in an unaware Pokemon. If you have an unaware Clefable, so that means this Pokemon's gaining massive stats, you switch out, take the unaware hit, you heal up, you go back into your Ditto, Ditto Imposter copies those stats, then you just trade it back up, and now you are in a better position, because eventually, if you can heal around, if you can play around the Pokemon enough, you're just going to have infinitely more stall than they do, is the ridiculous part of this. And also, here's like, I guess this got more interesting than it should have. Like, if this was a Dark Pulse Sableye, he wouldn't have been able to snarl all my gains down. But there are these weird situations where Ditto becomes like the ultimate troll tank, because I only have a set amount of recovers. I can use it 16 times if I've used my PP max, which I have on this Sableye. You know, you guys have been fans of my channel for a long time. You know that I need to PP max a lot. So, you know, eventually all he has to do is use recover 3 times. So he can trade me out like this for 20 turns effectively, like depending on how much he wants to stall in the Calm Mind and when he wants to recover and stuff. Like, see, he knows with the Snarl he can get away with it, and then he just goes for the recover, and now he'll be able to recover 5 times. If I recover 5 times, he switches out, comes back in, the PP loss is there. So Ditto can get into a situation where as long as there's one other Pokemon on its team that can handle the setup or handle the stall, like it doesn't even have to be Calm Mind, you know, anything that's like a toxic stall kind of Pokemon that's really nasty. That's why the Magikarp Clefable could work out in some situations, and the Unaware could work in others. Or I'm thinking like a Pokemon like Skarmory, a Pokemon like Gliscor. If Skarmory's going for the toxic stall, and it's just relying on those roosts, if you can get some kind of other status or some kind of other damage onto it at that point, eventually it's going to run out of roost, and your Ditto just comes in, takes that, now it can roost forever, switch out, roost forever, switch out, roost forever. And that's just kind of one of the things. So that was effectively what this battle. And that was one of the crazy things that we learned, is that whilst I still want to say that Scarf Ditto is the best, because I've said that so many times, but it looks like the Focus Sash Ditto has so many more unusual applications that actually just turn out to become like pure frustration for the person that's stalling, because yeah, you're not going to get PP stalled. You're never going to run out of moves. You just come in and reset back to 5. So hopefully I didn't repeat myself too much. I just thought that this would be a very interesting discussion on Pokemon, because yeah, stalling is annoying. So if you're having problems with that, the Ditto is just so diverse. You use it as an anti-sweeper, the Focus Sash. So I mean, you would need a defog Pokemon to make sure you can keep the Focus Sash as healthy as possible. But even then, depending on the Pokemon you're coming into, you don't need to win the speed tie. As you can see here, I was actually winning a lot more speed ties than he was, and eventually, you know, he just recovers at the right time. That's all it takes. I was hoping for a crit. I was hoping for something, but it just would not happen. And then again, you have that, you steal their sweeper, you can outstall their tank, and it's very reliable. So I'm trying to think about team builds for it. Yeah, regenerate a Pokemon. The Clefable's a hard one, because yeah, if you have the Magic Guard, you aren't going to be able to get Toxic stalled. But say if you have an Amoonguss, you know, you could bring in the Amoonguss against Toxic and have something like that happen. I guess the Sableye matchup was one of the more nasty ones, because Sableye, it's my MVP. It's one of my best Pokemon. I bring it almost all the time right now because I've understood it so well. But the Ditto is one of the hardest stops to it that isn't a Fairy-type Pokemon. Like, besides the straight-up counter of Fairy, I can play around Fairies. I can't play around this Ditto, because if I switch out, he's still going to have all my stats, and he's still going to be absolutely impossible to deal with because it's my Sableye. I'm playing against myself, and it's a better version of my Sableye, because if he wanted to, he could have just dragged this game on forever. But, you know, that's... We were just playing for funsies, and the goal of this, it was just like an endurance test. So the battle ended up going on for 67 turns. We're in turn 67. I technically won because he got lazy. Like, I switched out. I got my Hippowdon in when he didn't have the Sableye up, so he wasn't able to Magic Bounce it. And then I had Stealth Rocks, so whenever he came in, he would lose a little bit of health, and he came in on a Snarl turn and lost more health than he expected, and stuff happened. So that's Ditto. I already talked about it. I didn't want to repeat myself, and I went on for a couple more minutes. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. That's just some of the crazy Pokemon discussion that you can stumble into. Try to find a good friend that understands the game. Try to just think about what could happen, because, I mean, I've been playing Pokemon competitively since the start of 4th generation, technically, like, the end of 3rd generation, but I didn't get, like, super serious till 4th gen. And I'm learning new things like this at random events, like just an anime convention Pokemon tournament, where you don't really expect much. So it was high competition, everything turned out kind of intense, and that was this battle, you know? This goes on for 40 turns, and I'm like, well, eventually I'm just gonna run out of recover and it's over. So that's how it works. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you all have a nice day. Ditto's ridiculous. Thank you for watching.